to episode 19 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast to help you go vegan. Every 2 weeks, I'll share a new episode discussing all things vegan. Most importantly, we'll talk about how to embrace this meaningful decision with fervor and fun. Episodes post every other Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? I'd like to start this episode by acknowledging my absence and say simply, time is a son of a bitch. My last episode was in May, early May. I've recently heard about this thing called pod fade. It seems to happen to a lot of podcasters, though it also seems that the average number of episodes a person who succumbs to pod fade usually posts is about 3. And I actually got to 18 before really bowing out for a bit. So, yay me? Anyway, my point is that life and the things we love can get away from us sometimes. And the important thing is to always look for what is most important to you, what lights you up, and find your way back. And by the way, don't beat yourself up. We all deserve happiness. Don't give up on what brings you joy. Just get back to it as soon as you can. So this month, which is July 2021, marks 20 years since I read that PETA Animal Times magazine that changed my world forever. A quick recap for those who don't know my story, and if you'd like more detail, you can check out episode 1, Veganism. What is it, and who is this host? I had always been sensitive to animals. I cared about the environment, and I wanted to make the world a better, more beautiful place, even as a child. And one day, this magazine shows up in the mail. It was PETA's Animal Times. I remember the cover had pigs, like it was a cartoon, pigs that were walking like they were in a fashion show. But the story that, while I read the thing cover to cover, and every story broke my heart, the one I can still see in my head 20 years later is one about a downed cow. So when cows are being trucked to slaughter, they are kept in, they're brought in these trucks. They're jam-packed in there. There's no space for them to turn around or, to even be safe inside the truck. So they can get really banged around. They can be hurt. Their legs can be broken. So by the time the truck shows up, sometimes some cows are really sick and they don't make it to the killing floor. Some of them are very weak just from the factory farming experience, I guess we could call it. And so those cows that are sick and can't be walked off the truck often, or dragged off the truck, are called downed. They're downed cows. And it was the picture and the story that to this day is still just burned in my brain. That was the magazine that changed everything. I don't know how it wound up in my mailbox. I mean, it was addressed to me. It didn't wind up there by accident. But I don't remember requesting it or, requesting more information or signing up for anything for PETA. But anyway, so that's the story. I read this magazine and everything changed. I decided that I was going vegetarian. And so I did that in July of 2001. And it was surprising to the people around me because I wasn't really a vegetable eater. And what I found as I tested out the available meat substitutes, I didn't like those either. So I ate a lot of pasta and I was still eating cheese. I was still vegetarian. But I was in a position because I was young, still living at home. I didn't have bills. What I did, though, is that I overhauled everything. And I was able to get rid of any leather shoes or handbags, things like that, and replace them with vegan alternatives. Why I held on to the cheese for as long as I did, I mean, who knows, right? There's so many of us that were vegetarian for a really long time. And just like I think everyone who goes vegan, it's always, I wish I'd done this sooner. That's the only regret of any vegan that I know. I just wish I had done this sooner. So I ate a lot of pasta and I did a lot of research and I learned about, stuff to eat, how to eat. um, I didn't know how to cook either. So it really was quite a life change for me. Um, but when it's bigger than you, it doesn't matter. And you just do it day in and day out and you don't think twice about it. I've never regretted um, stopping eating animals, not once. Certainly in our culture, dating and things like that could have been easier. Well, it would have been ideal to meet someone who was also vegetarian or vegan, but I've never once regretted it. And that's really what this month is for me. It's a celebration. Mm. Like I said before, even as a kid, I wanted to find a way to make the world more beautiful, loving place. And there really is no better way to do that from my perspective than to be vegan. So, like, what's changed in the last 20 years? Oh my gosh. Well, I know I'm repeating myself here, but vegan cheese has certainly changed. Man, what a difference. I still can remember, and if you've listened to other episodes, you've heard this before. The very first time I tried vegan cheese, I'd only been vegetarian maybe a couple of weeks, and I, mind you, again, this is 2001, so we didn't have the cheeses that we have today. They just were not. We weren't there yet, and I decided to make nachos. Love me some nachos, and I was all excited. I put all the chips on the baking sheet, and I got all this huge chunk of soy, like cheddar. Yeah, I think it was a cheddar block, like a soy cheddar block, and I didn't have a grater because, like I said, I didn't even know how to cook at this point. And I just kind of sliced off very thin slices of the cheese. Maybe that was the mistake. I don't know. But anyway, so I put it in the oven and oh, it smelled terrible. Oh, it was so bad. It smelled so bad. And then when I took it out, it was like bubbling, but it looked like plastic. Or, I wish I could remember what they were called. And if I can figure it out when I'm Googling while I'm editing, I'll put it in the show notes. But there was this toy when I was a kid. Um, it was a little thin plastic straw, and there was like this like kind of gooey stuff that you'd put on the end of the straw. You'd blow into the straw and it would create a bubble. That's what the cheese looked like. It did not look like food. I had one bite of it and I threw it all away. And part of it probably was too that my palate hadn't yet adjusted. So, for those of you newbies who were cheese addicts before you went vegan, give yourself some time. Like, just take a month off of any cheese like product because you need to adjust. You've got to give your palate and your brain some time to release the addiction to essentially the opiates that are in cheese, which are naturally there because, mama cows want baby cows to drink milk so that they grow to be, 2,000 pounds in a very short period of time. So it has to kind of be addictive. So, yeah, that's my advice to any newbies who were struggling with cheese before. just give yourself a little bit of time. I mean, the vegan cheeses these days are amazing. And so the transition, I think, is not as difficult, taste wise and mouth feel wise for sure, as it was back then. But that's my suggestion. So what else has changed? I think the expectation of what a vegan is, what they look like, what it means. I think that that's changed a lot, and the acceptance of it. Um, People used to be like, "Ah, vegan, like what is that? Or why are you doing that?" There was just no understanding of what it was or what it meant. And now people, the word's not so foreign to the average person anymore. At least, here in the Northeast of the United States, and certainly out west in the United States. But, the population of vegans is growing all over the world. And it's really amazing. And it's just, it's nice to see it become more mainstream, because the more mainstream it is, the more people will join us. And the more people join us, the less animals are harmed. And when the demand reduces, then that means that the companies start finding something else to produce that will bring in the money that they're losing. And when they realize that we are not eating any animal products, then they will be looking for things to offer that are not animal products. And that means there'll be more vegan foods available. And I think that that is pretty cool. How have I changed in the 20 years since I read that magazine? Oh, when I probably the first 4 or 5 years. Oh, I wanted everyone to know. I wanted everyone to know the cruelty, the what you were contributing to anytime you ate animals or used animal products or things tested on animals. I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. And honestly, it's pretty common when someone first learns about the cruelty of just kind of the way humans use animals for our convenience just across the board, because it's so appalling. And you're like, oh, you could do this one thing and you can stop contributing to all of it. Like, why wouldn't you do that? And once you're on the other side, it can be really hard to look at the people in your life and not judge them and not be upset by the fact that they haven't joined you on this journey. I mean, I still remember I was at a carnival, and we were like, it was like a, excuse me, it was a local thing. And there was like food set up, and they had people serving the food, but it was definitely like you get like a buffet. And I was walking through looking for the vegetarian options, and someone asked me if I wanted some of whatever the chicken dish was there. And instead of just saying no, thank you, which is what I would do today in that type of setup, I actually said, no, thank you. I don't eat anything that has a face. A woman had no idea what to do with that information. She wasn't expecting it. Nothing about me told her this was coming. She was just doing her job, or volunteering probably, just trying to get food onto people's plates. And I threw that at her. She didn't say anything, and I think it's because it just caught her off guard. But I used to have a T-shirt that had a picture of a cow's head from the slaughterhouse, like still hanging on the hook. So just the cow's head, and next to it, it said, "Do you want fries with that?" And I used to wear that all over the place. And to me, like, this was effective activism. And I thought, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't joined any groups. Like, I just was like, let me buy all these buttons and buy these t-shirts and really get the message out when I'm just walking around in the world. And, I mean, I think it's important to get that message out, but how have I changed? That's what we're talking about right now. I don't do that anymore. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that if that is the approach that you are choosing to take. It's just not the approach that works for me anymore. Um so I stopped doing that probably 4 or 5 years into having gone vegetarian, and I would talk about being vegetarian, but it wasn't often. And what I found was if I told someone I was vegetarian and left it at that, then they would come to me with questions. And as I've gone through the last 20 years, my favorite times have been when people ask me about vegan food, going vegan, how to do it, and I give them some suggestions, point them to different resources, and then they come back to me and they say, "So I really wanted to do this, but I messed up." Or I haven't um I haven't been doing great with it, or I'm only eating a couple of vegan meals a week and I really want to eat more vegan meals. Or, how what's a better way for me to start incorporating this into my life, because doing a quick overhaul doesn't seem to work. The fact that people felt comfortable with me asking those questions, admitting to having still eaten animals when the last time we spoke, they were like, "No, I'm done. I'm off this. I'm so happy to have this information and I can't wait to go vegan too." And then they come back to me and they've got more questions. They have more issues. And it's just, it felt so good, because I thought back to the Kimberly of the early veg years, and I don't know that someone would have felt comfortable saying to her, "I'm not there yet. I need more help." I've grown kinder, more open, and not just to other people. I mean, this is like deep personal work, like getting to the core of the things. Like, we all have things that we don't like about ourselves, no matter what good we're putting out into the world. There's always insecurities and things we struggle with. And so over the last 20 years, I've just been looking at all the things I want to be different, ways I want to be different. And when it came down to it, like, ultimately, I just wanted to be a kind, compassionate person. And I mean, my work's not done. I still have I still have things to work on, but to be able to hold space for someone and just kind of let them be with me and ask questions and just feel safe, that's where it's at for me. And if by providing that space where people feel comfortable to ask questions and just be themselves and work it out, and I can do that, and we uncover the vegan within them, like, that's amazing. Because not only are we learning to love our planet and the animals when we do this, we're learning to love ourselves. When we can live in alignment with who we truly are deep down, there is nothing better than that. So that's, I think that's the biggest thing. That's really where I've changed. I was so angry for so long. But we all have those things, And when you start looking at what you really want in life, and I'm not talking about your career, actual things. I mean, like, Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? What's your legacy? What is the most important thing for you? Deep inside. What is it? I hope that you take some time and really think about that. And if you have more questions, you know where to find me. I'd love to talk to you about it. If you know who you are, really know who you are and what you want out of this life, and you know that veganism is a part of it because it really is just so beautiful and so loving. Just, I'd love to hear about that too. Tell me your stories. That's why I'm here. So this July, let's celebrate my 20 years. Let's celebrate your 20th day. Let's celebrate your 20th hour, your 20th minute of being vegan. Let's do it. There's so much sadness and so many hard things. We do hard stuff all the time. But this, it's so much bigger than you and me, and it's just, we have the power to change the world. What are you waiting for? I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. If you are interested in learning about common vegan substitutes and swaps and have a favorite animal-based recipe you'd love to veganize, join the waiting list for my signature class, Veganize It, via the link in the show notes. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Did You Bring the Hummus, and visit my website, www.didyouBringTheHummus.com, for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. Our next episode you do not want to miss. It is with my friend Sally Chamberlain, who is a spiritual coach and a vegan coach. And we have an amazing, warm, loving conversation. You want to be here for that. So don't miss it. I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? Are you a vegan who would love to be interviewed to tell your story? Or are you curious about veganism and want to work one-on-one? Whatever it is, reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram or send me an email at didyouBringTheHummus@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.